Hey, how's it going? It is Wednesday, July 15th. This is the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. We're on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe. Follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. Today we'll get some coronavirus updates, flooding, earthquakes, and food shortages in China, and finding meaning in the Tuesday morning message. So, how are you guys doing? It is already the middle of the week. It is Wednesday, and guess what's going to happen tonight? The wonderful Wednesday service, and I'm just thankful for all of you joining us here on the Morning Star Drive. Look forward to an amazing message tonight, so let's start it well with this show. Just want to remind everyone, keep liking, keep commenting. I want to hear from you guys and see how you're doing. And remember, this week's Sunday edition, I interviewed Catherine Poon in Korea, so make sure to catch that interview. Next Sunday edition, we'll be meeting another member, which is a mystery right now, for now, but I'll let you guys know as ASAP when that person comes up. And just a fun and inspiring interview, so just make sure to check out all the Sunday editions we have. So let's get into the featured artist of the day. The featured artist of the day today is from the Paper Music Associates in Korea. It is J Root. And this song we're going to hear today is called Oktap Cinema. Oktap in Korean means rooftop, and cinema means cinema. So it's a very poetic title, Rooftop Cinema. The second song coming from the Sumney Boys, one of my favorite songs, is Partners in Crime, another laid-back, cool song. And the last song, of course, is going to be from our very own Francis Han in New York. And the song we're going to hear from him is Soul Shadows. All right, so more than anything else, let's just sit back, relax, lay back a little bit more, because we're going to hear some amazing songs from members from around the world. So let's first listen to J Root from the Paper Music Associates from Oktap Cinema, or Rooftop Cinema.
작은 점 똑같은 점이야 깜빡이네 사실 그 다른 건 점은 아니야 새삼스레 No Let me delete the space bar the sun goes down 난 손이 커플 라테 원해 작은 옥탑 by myself to my only creation 네가 있을 곳이야 Little bit of nostalgia 어둠이 내려야 선명해져 like a movie Nobody cares about the credit Cause there is no cookie yeah. 이유가 없는 게 당연해 Goes on, goes on, goes on, goes on the highway 아름다움보다는 아련해 Cause I know, I know, I know, I know 별이 잠들지 못해서 걸어가 달려야만 해 다 그렇게만 해 다를 바가 없네 선을 그리고 싶다면 어쩔 수 없지 뭐 Stay the line, okay No, no 지금 떠내려가는 점은 위태로운 내 맘의 말줄임표 같아 똑같아 잠깐만 잠잠히 깨져 무료한 시간이 와서야 새로운 감정을 소비해 yeah. 이 한편마저 끝나면 다 드려야 할걸
And that was Francis Han, and that is Soul Shadows. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Kind of some cool jazz, right? And that it just feels good to listen to these types of things. Just relaxing before the Wednesday message. We also listened to that first song, the featured artist of the day from Paper Music Associates. It was J. Root with Rooftop Cinema and the Sumney Boys with Partners in Crime. I hope you guys enjoyed those three songs. Now, that moves us into the coronavirus updates for today. Just like Sunsteam said this week, we have to be the ones looking at the news like it's the words of God. So in the world right now, there's 13.3 million cases with 576,000 deaths. And just across the board, just want to let you guys know, across the board, every country you look at, just the world, everything went down. All the mortality rates went down. So regardless of what you hear in the news, just remember the most important thing is the mortality rate, and this is constantly going down. And this is the most important stat out of anything else because this is a very high spreading virus. So it's not so much the amount of people that actually get it. It's actually we're looking at how high the mortality rate is, and it looks like it's constantly going down because even the U.S. today is under 4%, which is amazing, right? So in the world right now, it's a 4.34%. Mortality rate. And like I said, the U.S. is dropping even faster at 3.97%. They used to be neck and neck about 3 weeks ago, and now the U.S. has gone down below 4%. From the way you hear it in the news, it looks like everyone is like dropping like flies, but it's not going up. The mortality rate is not going up. It's 3.5 million cases, 138,000 deaths, 3.97% mortality rate. Brazil, 1.9 million deaths, 73,000 deaths. 1.9 million cases, 73,000 deaths at 3.86%. India's almost a million cases. Now they're 911,000 cases, 24,000 deaths at 2.61%. Mexico, 304,000 cases, 35,000 deaths at 11.66%. And amazingly, Mexico went down too in mortality rate. South Africa, 288,000 cases with 4,100 deaths at 1.45%. And, of course, the Philippines, we're looking at 57,000 cases, 1,600 deaths at 2.8%. Everyone went down across the board. And then we're going to take a look at, wait a second. Let me make a double check on the Philippines. I'm not sure if I actually did the right check on the Philippines. I think these were yesterday's for the Philippines. But when you look at today's for the Philippines, it says, 57,500 cases, 1,600 1,600 deaths, and we're looking at 2.79. Yeah, which means it went down 0.01%. So it's not 2.8, it's 2.79%. Sweden went down a lot too. They're down to 7.3%, and Belgium went down 0.01% also to 15.59%. Yesterday, a lot of cases around the world, of course, with the U.S. Hitting records, but almost hit their record, but they're at 65,000 cases at a 2% growth rate. Brazil is now in third. India is now in second with 28,000 cases, 3% growth rate. Brazil's at 22,000 at 1%. South Africa, 12,000 at 4% growth rate, and Mexico at 4,500 at 2%. Just as kind of the cases are surging up again in America, it looks like the last report we saw from the Delta Airlines CEO, he basically says that there's still a huge stall in air travel, and it looks like it's going to take at least 2 years to recover. So that is a major thing that the air travel industry is going to be going down a lot. So I'm not sure if that means the prices are going down or up, but it's just not a good thing, right? So let's take a look at what's happening around the world. And this is something that I looked at, especially from yesterday's pre-dawn message. And, the 70 days of prayer ended. And the one thing Sanseem said was, take a look at what happened during the 70 days. And it's pretty crazy. Like, there's so many things that we're missing out because the news kind of just mutes a lot of the important stuff out, and they're focused on other things that are not as important as these things here. But guys, you have to take a look at China. China at the moment, like we talked about floods before, there's the largest freshwater lake over there in China, and it is unprecedented flooding, and the flood response alert went to the second highest level on Sunday, which is 2 days ago. The eastern provinces are the worst hit, and it's up 74 feet, which is a historical high, and it's continuing to rise. There's like 200 feet of roadbed that was just completely destroyed by a river. I was looking at the video, and the road basically just, I thought it was a bridge, but it was actually a road. Yeah, it's crazy. 200 feet of it is just completely destroyed by a river. And it's basically what happened is it's just overflown, just days and days of heavy rainfall, and finally took its toll, and 200 feet of roadbed was just destroyed. It looked like, I don't know, looked like cookie dough to me. Just the way it just crumbled. At the moment, just in this area, 141 people died or missing. 800 million acres of farmland are destroyed, and already 28,000 homes are flattened. The economic loss in China right now is about $12 billion US. 34 million people are affected, and there's more rain coming. And this is like all recent, like all over the weekend. There are 212 rivers in China have exceeded alert levels. 212 rivers. So already at this moment, there's about 500,000 people that have been evacuated. There's basically no food, no rice at their homes or houses where, these houses are submerged now. And at the moment, there's no government aid being given out. The longest river over there is the Yangtze River. And the speed of the river is at like 80,000 cubic meters a second, and it should be exceeding, if not already, 90,000 cubic meters a second, and that's going to soon break the highest record of speed in the century. That's pretty soon, right? There's emergency notices everywhere, and especially along the Yangtze River. This entire city might have to be evacuated, the ones that are along this. There's also there's this huge hydropower dam. It's the largest hydropower project in the world. It's called the Three Gorges Dam. I'm not sure what it's called in Chinese, but the Three Gorges Dam. And experts are all warning it's about to collapse. Like, the dam is about to collapse. So it's pretty crazy. And if it does, there's like 400 million people at risk. 400 million. Which means that's larger than the entire United States. This many people are at risk at the moment. And of course, the Three Gorges Dam is one of the largest, like I said, it's the largest hydropower project in the world. And they do have a capacity for flood storage, but it's very limited, and they've already surpassed it. So when you look at the footage of this Three Gorges Dam, water is just busting loose out of it. And even right now at this moment, over half of China is waterlogged. And this is just the flooding. And I talked a little bit about it the other day too. The second thing I had no clue about this is earthquakes. There have been 6 earthquakes in 2 days. ranging from 3 to 5.1 on the Richter scale. And just on Sunday, there were 4 earthquakes just on Sunday alone. And the latest one was 5, that was the highest, 5.1 on the Richter scale, and they've had already like 30 aftershocks. And this place where this happened is 90 miles away from Beijing. And if you look at the Southwest province, they were hit with multiple earthquakes. One was 4.0 and 3.0 magnitude. And that includes another one that was 10 days ago at 3.2 magnitude. And of course, another part of the Southwest province, there was another 4.4 earthquake. And on Monday, there were 2 more earthquakes at 5.0 and 3.4. So it's pretty nuts with these earthquakes. I saw the pictures. A lot of the apartments, they're just crumbling. I'm sure the infrastructure is not ready, like not really suitable, and has enough, like they're not built for earthquakes, but 6 earthquakes in 2 days. And this was all until Monday, which means the last day of the 70-day prayer condition. So there's another thing that's pretty crazy. Think about it. 5.1, 5.0, 4.0, 4.4, 4.0, 3.4, and 3.0. So this is... In China, everything's happening at once. Like everything. And this is the reason why we have to look at the news, right? As Sunseem said, look at the 70 days, what has happened. And just in the last weekend of the 70 days is what's happening in China. Last thing, which is even crazier, is on social media in China, there's this granary, a state-run stockpiling granary. It's called Sinograin. That's the name of the company. And there is major concerns of food security. This is a public granary, and it's basically, they're showing the pictures. It's full of moldy, poor quality corn. Lots of like extra, it's not even just corn. There's like sand and other dirt, all stuff like combined with it. A lot of the corn is moldy. There's a lot of foreign material in the corn too. Someone posted it on social media, and there's this huge fear that there's going to be a food shortage. So this Sinograin company too is pretty much corrupted. They've been caught for corruption in the past, embezzling about $100 million of public funds. They secretly sell the stockpiles, and they also add sand to their corn to make it heavier. And last year, there was this big investigation that came in for the corruption at Sinograin. And, after they announced that they're going to investigate Sinograin, just mysteriously, there was a fire, and 50 tons of corns and rice were all burnt. And of course, people are wondering if the fire was on purpose to hide the evidence. So it was like 4 days after the inspection team came in to check it out, like there's a fire that came in. So there's a big prospect of food shortages, mainly because if this food isn't good, another problem is you can't import food because of the pandemic. There's no imports coming in. And there's a big fear of rice shortages in the past that caused people to even fight over these the rice shortages. So when you look at the 2 major countries that are going through the worst, it's like pandemic over epidemic over problem over problem over problem. Think about it. China and America are the 2 that are going through the worst right now. It's civil unrest, pandemic. Like we just saw in China, flooding. And then earthquakes, food shortages. America's got massive civil unrest, just terrible media coverage, and just there's no trust in America because there's a freedom of speech and freedom of these things, and you can protest and such, but there's no trust with the government. And is it one side's fault? Absolutely not. It's both sides are just ridiculous at the moment, and you just see that. No one knows what's going to happen over there in America either, but we have to look at these 70 days, which means the last over 2 months, 70 days, right? What has been happening in those 2 countries, and those are the 2 being affected the most by far. And we really have to pay attention to these things because, I never thought about it until Sunseem said during the Tuesday message, we'll talk a little bit more about this. Is watch what happened during these 70 days, and it is crazy when you think about it. So I really hope that a lot of us too, as we go over more and more of these things, we'll really be able to get a better idea of what is happening in the world right now. Which leads us into a time of praise, a time of grace, a time of singing to the Holy Trinity, giving praise with all of our hearts. We're going to go over some praise songs today. And the first song, of course, because we're repenting for the world and We want to get, Satan out of these countries. The first song we're going to sing is Get Out of Sin, Fight the Devil and Win. The second one is Everyone in Every Time Period. And the last one is a really deep Shimjonic song, and that one is The Path of Love.
Against the devil, leave your sins behind and win. Fight against the slanderers, believe the Lord and win. Disregard the tricks and lies of slanderers and overcome. Our Lord, He is the King of all kings. Our Lord, He will win. Those who will stand with Him on His side, they will win. The Spirit and the Son help us. They are on our side. Always pray, prayers are power. Use the word, it's a sword. We will win. Let's give glory to them. Against the devil, leave your sins behind and win. Fight against the slanderers, believe the Lord and win. Disregard the tricks and lies of slanderers and overcome. Our Lord, He is the King of all kings. Our Lord, He will win. Those who will stand with Him on His side, they will win. They will surely succeed. God's prepared everything, tables for us before our enemies. We will fight slanderers, Satan's too. This rapturous story surely will be fulfilled. God the Spirit and the Son help us. They are on our side. Always pray, prayers are power. Use the word, it's a sword. We will win. Let's give glory to them. God the Spirit and the Son help us. They are on our side. Always pray, prayers are power. Use the word, it's a sword. We will win. Let's give glory to them. We will win. Let's give glory to them. We will win. Let's give glory to them.
we see truth fighting lies, which side are we going to take? With our hearts set on heaven's word, we know what we need to do. We will always side with the light, fighting darkness till the end. Those who live here within the truth will remain eternally strong. We had endured far from the truth, living in such emptiness. Now the people who'd given up have returned to join the brave, where the Lord waits, arms open wide. In His arms we live with joy. With the Lord's thoughts and with His heart, we press onwards, following Him. As we do what we need to do, we fulfill God's will at last. With the new word given to us, we will preach to everyone. This the truth of heaven is ours. With this truth we'll never fail. People don't know, so they oppose. They don't know this heavenly truth. We will love them just like our Lord. Through love cover up their sin. Though they stand blocking our way, we fulfill this history. God was with us, we've overcome. We fulfilled God's will of love. God was with us, we've overcome. We fulfilled God's will of love. God was with us, we've overcome. We fulfilled God's will of love.
Since I have come, you've come as well. And today we become one with God, one with the Spirit. We unite on this path of love. We must walk now and for all eternity. This path will never change. Hear the word flows without end. Proudly we go on, always for providence. Now and always hope will shine brighter than the sun. This eternal love and hope forever shines bright. Finally, this love of ours fulfilled God's will at last. The Lord our God's promises will not fail, they will stand without change now. love of ours fulfill God's will at last. The Lord our God's promises will not fail. They will stand without change now and for all eternity. Since I have come, you've come as well, and today we become one with God, one with the Spirit. We unite on this path of love. We must walk now and for all
And that is The Path of Love. That's one of those deep shimjonic songs that we hear all the time. So I'm really grateful that we're able to receive these songs from the Lord. Also at everyone in every time period, and Get Out of Sin, Fight the Devil, and Win. So I hope you guys enjoyed those praise songs together. And that brings us into the word study of the day. Now, the word study of the day comes from the Tuesday morning message, as we do on every Wednesday morning podcast. And there were several things, but the thing that really hit me so hard was when I talked a little bit about it during the current news. During the 70 days of prayer, look at what happened during the time of prayer. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, if I start, like, even just some of the things that I was thinking about during the last, 2 months of podcasts. Like, just recently, I just talked about what happened in the weekend. Well, this is not even just the weekend. Floods in China, earthquakes in China, food shortages in China. We also talked about locusts, right? Locusts in Africa, especially East Africa, moving up to India and Pakistan, even going into South America. There's civil unrest not only in the U.S., but also in Australia, in Europe. The one I saw just recently 2 days ago was big civil unrest in Israel, like how the government is handling the coronavirus. It's civil unrest in Brazil. There's like this big split. Those that support the president, well, it sounds familiar, right? Those that support the president and those that support the other part of the government. You're looking at just now, because not only on top of this, because of the pandemic, like the pandemic's hitting like every country, but because of the pandemic, there's no more import and exporting, which also means what's being affected, like oil, food. Like we talked about China, there are food shortages because there's no food coming in for imports and exports. All the countries have shut them down. Another thing we see, this economic just, this is a huge like recession coming. We're not feeling the full brunt of it yet. It's like almost every major thing is happening right now. Right? It's like every major thing that you thought was possible, that could happen, is happening right now. It's almost like you have something crazy that happened, and then on top of it, there's like equally crazy things happening at the exact same time. And you're like, what the heck is going on? And the thing that's really amazing, like you have to think about it, is, I said this before, is we're the ones receiving this first. Like, we know what's going on, and that's why we can't be the ones that get caught up in these things. Right now, when this week's message about the Lord will resolve all things through the word, right? And the big thing, he says, resolve means to set free. And of course, there are some things that are human responsibility. Like, that's why Sunseem asked God, like, hey, what about the coronavirus? That's human responsibility. But to set people free, something that's very, very interesting is the one point he made that was the biggest one was, at this time, God's heart and your heart can be resolved because the Bible is being interpreted, and because the Bible is being interpreted, God's will can be fulfilled. Like God's history can be fulfilled. And this is why it's so important to interpret the Bible. And if you think about it very carefully, if we lose sight of what our main goal is, like our main goal is what? Our main goal isn't to like honestly, our main goal isn't to finish some like it's not some social issue. That's not our main goal. Right? Because there's tons all over the world, like Hong Kong and Taiwan and America, Israel, all over Africa. Like, you know, there's a lot of things going on right now. And if you think about it, our main thing is to fulfill the ideal world of God. And we cannot do it the way the world does it, through politics, right? Even lobbying, all these things, that's not the thing that's going to work. Even we look at way in the past when before Kim Jong-un, his father, I think is Kim, I don't even remember his father's name. I think the first one was Kim Il-sung was the first one, the grandfather, Kim Jong-un's grandfather, and then there's another one. But that was all solved through prayer when the second president died. And since he was praying and praying, they were setting conditions, and eventually the president died. And then this president we have right now, the dictator in North Korea is the newest one. That all happened through prayer. Yeah, none of these things can be solved or resolved through the way the world does it. And the thing that really hit me was the Bible must be interpreted. Why? Because only then can the will be fulfilled. And only when the Bible is interpreted, God's heart and your heart is resolved. Because if you think about it, that's the ultimate thing. The ultimate question people are trying to figure out is the question of death. And if we lose sight of that ultimate question, that salvation, how to escape death, how to live forever, how to gain eternal life, that was the ultimate thing. And now that that's all resolved, God's heart is resolved. So now he can, in the Sunday message, he says, now that God's heart is resolved, he can just love us. And then when our heart is resolved, we can just love God. That's the way it should be, right? And I really hope that in this time of unrest, in just multiple, it's health, political, civic, right? Oh, there's just so many different issues happening at the same time. We have to be the ones that are always focused and centered on the right thing. Because one thing I do remember is when I think about even the time of Jesus, there was someone who is in our position at the time of Jesus who did get distracted by political things. He did get distracted by things that were unimportant, and that was John the Baptist, right? John the Baptist should have been preaching for Jesus, for the Messiah, but instead he got caught up in King Herod. Why is he marrying his brother's wife, right? Why is he saying things against the government? Like it's really crazy when you think about it, and it wasn't wrong. Like if you think about it, the rule, like by law, what he did was wrong. King Herod shouldn't be marrying his brother's wife. Shouldn't be in love, shouldn't be like having a relationship with his brother's wife. He shouldn't. And it's right. And the thing is, a lot of things that we see right now might seem right to us that we have to stand up and do this. But reality is, just like John the Baptist, his main job wasn't to just go around like telling kings to do this, it would be equivalent to presidents at this time saying, oh, you're bad, this is bad, we need justice, we need this, we need that, oh, come on, Hong Kong needs to be set free, Taiwan needs to be set free, America needs to be set free, like all these different things going on. But the one mistake that John the Baptist did make was that he went towards civil unrest, political injustice, right? Things that were happening in the world. And that's, even when the Messiah comes, it doesn't mean nothing's going to happen. I mean, everything's going to be hunky-dory and everything's fine. But as people who are the brides of God, our eyes should always be set upon the one that is sent. Always. Always set upon him, that we cannot make the same mistakes as John the Baptist, looking at his disciples, looking at his church, looking at things in a very physical way. And was he wrong? Was it wrong what King Herod was doing? Absolutely. Yet it was wrong because that wasn't his mission. And as people of God, we have to look at what our mission is, not to be distracted, but to really be setting our eyes on what is the goal of this history? Why are we here? And the moment we take our eyes off is the moment we kind of start taking the same track as John the Baptist. So, there's so many things that came out through the message, but that was like the big one for me. I was just like, wow, that is so true what is happening. Right? And we are in the position of John the Baptist as the ones who prepared the way for the Messiah, prepared the way for the Lord, and we have to do it without being distracted. That's what Satan wants. Right? It's like exactly when I teach the 30 lessons, when I teach Bible study, like when I talk about sun stuff, I talk about the exact same thing. People are so distracted just trying to argue over did the sun stop or not. But the answer is the Bible study is not about the sun. Right? It's totally not about the sun. Because if the sun was the most important thing in the sun stop lecture, think about it. Then if the sun stopped, then Joshua should be happy even if they lose. If the sun is the most important thing. Oh, the sun stopped. Even if we all die, I'm fine. Why? Because the most important thing happened, which is the sun stopping. And that's not true. The sun, whether the sun stops or not, that is not the issue. The issue is whether God helped. Is whether the issue was resolved. That's the biggest issue, right? And we really have to look at this. A lot of times we get distracted by all the craziness that's happening around us. And I kind of look at the squirrel. That squirrel that something talked about. Took care of the squirrel for 3 years, set it free. But what does it do now? Even without a cage, even without holding you in this cage, the squirrel is absolutely free to do anything, go anywhere they want. But now the squirrel just follows Sunseem around. He says that's the power of the word, which is food. Sunseem fed him all the time. And now, because of the food, is following Sunseem around. And if you think about it, if that squirrel is us, then once he's free, he could be, oh, look at this tree. Oh, look at that tree. Oh, look at this acorn. Look at that acorn. Oh, look at that. Wow, look at that cute squirrel over there. Right? The squirrel could be, there's so many things to be distracted by. So many things. But since the squirrel was trained well for 3 years, what happens? Just follows the Lord. Not distracted by anything else, but just follows the Lord. So I hope that us too, we can also be like that squirrel. How so? That even when the time comes when we're set free, we could do anything we want. Does that mean we should do anything we want? And the answer is no. Right? It doesn't mean we should do anything we want. Right? It means that we are those that were made in this history to follow the Lord. And because that's who we are as brides of this history, the most important thing is for us to do what? It is to follow. Even though there's so many nice trees, even though there's so many nice acorns and so many cute squirrels here and there, right? We shouldn't get distracted, but we should be the ones that follow the Lord. Absolutely. Cool. All right. So I hope that this kind of gives you a new look at the message for Tuesday morning. And we're going to now go into the song of choice for today. And the song of choice is a song from a group called Magic. And they did a song called Rude. You know that song? Like, I remember this song because when I came to Malaysia maybe 5 years ago in 2015, like right after the rapture, I came and they were singing this song on campus as like, what do you call that? The flash mob. They were doing a flash mob with the ukuleles. And that song goes, why you gotta be so rude? Don't you know I'm human? You know that song, right? I'm gonna marry her, and it's a song by Magic. It's called Rude. But I'm gonna play a cover by one of my favorite artists. His name is Daryl Ong from the Philippines. Amazing singer. And he's going to do a cover, but a slow version. And not only just a slow version of it, it's going to be an R&B version of the song Rude by Magic. And this is going to be covered by Daryl Ong. So I hope you guys really, really enjoy this. You almost feel like it's a completely different song. He just changed it up so much. R&B slow version of Rude that was originally performed by Magic.
Saturday morning, jumped out of bed and put on my best suit. Got in my car and raced like a jet all the way to you. Knocked on your door with heart in my hand to ask you a question, 'cause I know that you're an old-fashioned man. Can I have your daughter for the rest of my life? Say yes, 'cause I need to know. You say I'll never get your blessing till the day I die. Tough luck, my friend, but the answer is no. Why you gotta be so rude? Don't you know I'm human too? Why you gotta be so rude? I'm gonna marry her anyway. Marry that girl. Marry her anyway. Marry that girl. No matter what you say. Marry that girl. And we'll be a family. Why you gotta be so rude? I hate to do this, but you leave no choice. Can't live without her. Love me or hate me, we will be both standing at that altar. Or we will run away to another galaxy. You know she's in love with me. She'll go anywhere I go. Can I have your daughter for the rest of my life? Say yes, 'cause I need to know. Say I'll never get your blessing till the day I die. Tough luck, my friend, but the answer is no. Why you gotta be so rude? Don't you know I'm human too? Why you gotta be so rude? I'm gonna marry her anyway. Marry that girl. Ooh, marry her anyway. Marry that girl. No matter what you say, we'll be a family. Why you gotta be so rude? You don't have to worry, no, 'cause I love her. I need her, got to be with her every single day. Can I have your daughter for the rest of my life? Say yes, 'cause I need to know. You say I'll never get your blessing till the day I die. Tough luck, my friend, but no, it's gonna be a no. No, no, no. No. Why you gotta be so rude? Don't you know I'm human too? Why you gotta be so rude? I'm gonna marry her anyway. Marry her anyway. No matter what you say, we'll be a family. Why you gotta be so
And that is Daryl Ong with the song Rude by Magic. I hope you guys really enjoyed that song. That is one of my favorite singers. R&B version of Rude. Pretty crazy, right? R&B version, slow version, and it was just, I don't know. Personally, I like it better than the original. But I hope you guys will enjoy that. I'll make sure I'll put that link into the description so you guys can see that again too. He's an amazing singer, amazing live singer too. If you see him live, like if you see the live recordings that he sings in, he's just amazing. Either way, so let's get into today's story of the day. And actually, the story it has to do with also the realization I had from from the word also about what's happening and, what is the duty of us? Like, where did I get this from? This is kind of the process of how I realized what was going on, or like in my mind. And what does that mean? Like, the process of what went in my mind means what happened to me that made me realize about us as a John the Baptist of this time, right? How are we, like, what is our role as people who are the brides of this history? How can we solve all these issues that are going around the world? And honestly, I'm always checking up the news because of this podcast all the time. And I'm very grateful I can do this too. I get to see a bunch of news, but I also get to see a lot of things that are super stressing. I do. And, I'm just glad I can do this. So a lot of you, not everyone has to go all the way into the news checking out everything. And I'm sure you guys check the news anyways, but I want this podcast to be a place where people can get some cool news or the news that's happening around the world. And there's one point I was so caught up in all the stories, like China and America and Australia and Spain and Italy and Canada, and then all over Southeast Asia. And then, of course, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We're in lockdown, and my mind is super stressed at the same time. And I was getting so caught up in these stories, seeing injustice, seeing all these things happening around the world with Hong Kong and Taiwan, and just talking to people and seeing how they reacted. It's just a really emotional thing, and it was just taking its toll on my mind. Like, it really was. And I was so caught up into it, I was constantly stressed. Like, that feeling where you feel like your stomach is just knotted up and tight constantly. My heart feels like, I'm short of breath. I'm just like, what is going on? And just so many things going on at the same time. So much emotion. Talking to people, they're emotional. I see like their Instagrams and their Facebooks and there's emotional posts here and there, and you can't blame them for any of it. I'm just like, wow, it's such a crazy time, God. And Sunstein would keep reminding us every week that everyone remember, this is a time that you all know. And the thing that hit me the most, that made me start to think very, very deeply about it, I think it was like 2 weeks ago when Sunstein said, think about it. All the political leaders in the world have no idea what's going on. But the person that God sent does. And the people that follow, they do too. And it hit me like, yeah, we know what is going on. And when I heard that, it really woke me up. As in, why are you getting so into, like, so emotionally involved and attached to all these other different things and these, like, they're not even conspiracy. They're just like you're so into this, researching that. Like, why are you doing it? We are in this history with the person that God has sent. Just like it says in Amos chapter 3, verse 7, God surely does nothing without telling the people that he sent. And when we look at what is happening right now, we cannot look at the things all around us through our own lens, not through the environment that we're in, not even the environment we were in or how we were raised. But as the people of God, we are called to see things like an eagle rising high above the clouds, seeing from the overall perspective, or we are called to see things through the eyes of God and the eyes of the Lord. You see, the whole world, they have no idea that the most significant person in the world that is making the biggest impact is the Lord. It's God. They have no idea how significant his existence is right now. But he sits back and watches. And then he prays for 40 days. Then he prays for 70 days. And we have to learn from the Lord too. We do not get ourselves completely into it. What happens? We have to be like the Lord. And we watch from afar, looking at everything from God's perspective, asking God, what should we do? And this reminds me of this amazing, this testimony that I had when I was I believe in 2003 or I think it's 2003 in Canada. We had this major event called GACP, and we had like countries from all over the world bringing soccer teams, volleyball teams, and everything else. And I was in charge of sports, particularly it was basketball, volleyball, and soccer, and I was in charge of it. So I'm watching the entire thing, what's going on, making sure everything is going well. I'm at the top looking at all the courts, making sure everyone's got enough volleyballs, basketballs, making sure everything is going well. And look, just, as the person in charge, I'm looking at the overall view of everything from soccer to volleyball to basketball. It was a lot of work for me. And back then in 2003, remember at that time, I'm like 26 years old, 24, 2003. I'm 26 years old doing this major event in charge of all sports. And, but for one thing about me is I'm a super competitive guy who likes volleyball and basketball especially. And we had this Canadian volleyball team that was really, really good. And they ended up winning. But I wanted to play so badly that, because the guys are so good. One of the guys was like 203 centimeters tall. I just wanted to play with them. And I got into one of the games. And we're playing. And then there's this ball flies in the air. And I'm the setter, so I go to set the ball. But that huge guy, 203 centimeters, he just hits it out of nowhere. And as his elbow's coming down, it hits my eye, like the bone right underneath my eye. And I knocked out, blood coming out. And eventually what happened was I broke my orbital bone collapsed, which means like right underneath my eye, there was a hole, like the bone collapsed and my eye was going into the socket. It's pretty gross, right? I had to get like plastic surgery just to reset my eyes and stuff. But the big realization I had was, here I was as the person looking at the overall sporting events. But yet, because I wanted to play so badly, I went into one of the games. So if I'm in the game, then what do I see? I only see that court. I only see that small space. I don't see what's going around with the other courts. I don't see what they need. I don't see the problems that are happening, the things that I need to fix. I can't run over to the soccer fields. There's so many things that I couldn't see because I got too deep into it. And what I realized is, we have to be the ones that have to step back and look at the total picture and see it through God's lens. And He sees everything. It's pretty amazing. You just go up to the bleachers and you're about 20 feet above everyone else, and guess what? You see everything. You see the eagle's view. And in the same way, for us too, during these 70 days, Sunstein was praying, getting reports, watching the news, and just praying and praying and praying. And we, as the brides of the Lord at this time, this is what we need to do too. We have to see what is going on in this world, see what happened during the 70 days of prayer, see what happens in the US, in Europe, in China, in Canada, all over Oceania, Southeast Asia, and we have to pray. We are called to be the ones that pray together with the Lord, and we are different. Why? Because we know. We are different because we know the Lord's heart. And He's interpreted the words of God, the Bible, to us. And this is why we're the ones that have resolved so many things in our hearts that everyone else can't. We are not looking to be on a certain side. We're not looking just to find an answer in one situation. We are on the Lord's side. We are not on any human side. We do not look for subjective truths. We're not looking for our own interpretations. We're looking for absolute truth. And I hope that all of us here too will realize more and more each day the position that we hold as the people of God, as the brides of this history. And when we finally realize this, our decisions will be different. How we hold ourselves will be much different too. Amen. So I hope that everyone, you guys have, I hope you guys will realize more and more things too. And you guys will be the ones that will make the difference in your countries and make the difference in the world. All right. So I hope you guys are looking forward to an amazing Wednesday service tonight. I am, right? It's, just everything that Sunseem's talking about. This is what it's like. I'm not saying this is what you're supposed to do. This is what it's like. You could probably fall asleep for like 90% of the message, and even if you heard the last 10%, you would get this crazy realization. Like, you'd be like, wow, that's so deep. I got to listen to the rest of it again. Right? That's the power of the words. Yeah. So, what does that mean? It is time for the end of the Wednesday Morning Star Drive on 117.8. I hope you guys have an amazing Wednesday and amazing Wednesday service tonight. Everyone, see you tomorrow.
Believe in yourself and believe in somebody.
Gotta believe in yourself. Cause no one else will.